what were your first thoughts thinking about Aaron Rodgers getting hurt just 4 plays into his New York Jets career? Did you reach out to him? Were you watching? I mean, for me, I lost total interest in the game once Aaron got hurt.
Yeah, I think my first impression was, you have got to be kidding me. Of course, we didn't know how serious it was at the time, but nonetheless, we knew he was not coming back in that game. And all the hype and buildup, no one, I don't think anyone could have expected anything like this. I mean, Aaron's had some injuries in the past, but obviously this one's different. He's out the whole year. They kind of put all their eggs in one basket. You know, their defense is good. I think we saw that. They won on defense and special teams. Can they continue to do that? I don't think so. So they got to, either Zach Wilson or someone has got to manage the game for them and manufacture some points somehow, some way. And can that happen? I suppose it can, but who? I don't know.
You go through an entire offseason anticipating playing with, an all-time great quarterback and making a Super Bowl run, and now everything has to be readjusted on the fly emotionally for that team. I'm shocked that they were able to win that game. And then I think about Aaron's emotional adjustment and what he has to go through. Do you think he comes back and tries to play next year at 40 years old, or trying to recover from an Achilles tear at 39, 40? Maybe that's just a sign it's over.
Well, I think, and this is only my opinion, I believe that he certainly doesn't want to go out that way. That being said, there's a lot that goes into coming back that was unforeseen. I'm sure he wasn't expecting a season-ending injury. With technology today, the surgery assume should go well. And I think Aaron's got enough competitive spirit in him that he'll come back. And just because people either doesn't expect him to or doesn't expect him, if he comes back, to be the caliber of player that he once was. And I think that he's capable of being as good, if not better, after this injury. It's going to require some diligence, and I don't know much about rehab with the Achilles, but it's happened before. It's not anything new that the doctors haven't seen. I think physically, when I look at Aaron, I mean, he's taken some hits over the years, but not many, much like Tom Brady. I think that they can play well into their 40s, especially with the rule regulations now. I think once he recovers from this, his arm will be great. Mentally, he's always prepared. It's just a matter of if he wants to do it. And I think he will.
That's fascinating. I'm not even, the more I think about it and listening to you, he probably has no choice. When you push that many chips into the middle of the table,
yes,
you got to play it to the bust. And I mean, he basically wanted out of Green Bay. He wanted a fresh start in a new organization. And I think I agree with you. He's got too many chips in the middle of the table,
yes,
to walk away at this point.
I think you're absolutely right. And your point is probably the main point of all of this, that the Jets were all in and Aaron was all in. Everything Aaron asked for, he got. And he played 4 plays, didn't complete a pass. I just find it hard to believe that he would leave all that on the table And I'm not necessarily talking about money. He'll receive. Regardless, he'll receive a good chunk. But it's just the fact that he left Green Bay and wanted a fresh start. This team reached out, went over and beyond the call of duty to get him, and I think his competitive spirit won't allow him to not play.
You know, I was thinking this morning about your Iron Man streak and how you started and competed in all those games year after year after year after year. And then our researcher did the homework and came up with a list of like 18, 20 different injuries you had that were reported in the media that were legitimate. And somehow you still went out there and played game after game after game. Were you just mentally that tough, or were you just that foolish and just loved the game that much that it just didn't matter?
I think all of the above. I think, there was a high level of pain tolerance, a high level of determination and grit and toughness. And there was just the all shucks part of it too, that just said, hell, I'm not going to be denied, and I think maybe the most important factor in my streak was I never forgot how I got my job. The guy in front of me sprained his ankle. I don't think it was a serious sprain. It was serious enough that he couldn't play the following week. But it gave me an opportunity, and I made the most of that opportunity. It wasn't pretty at times, but I made the most of that opportunity. And you're always replaceable. I don't care who you are. If the next guy goes in and does well, shows a little spark, especially for a quarterback, when you show that the guys rally around you. Doesn't have to be pretty, but you have to show there's a certain spark that is there. And I had that. And it wasn't anything directly, but I had people rose up to the occasion, it seemed like, when I played. And I made it fun and enthusiastic, only because that's the way it was for me. But I always kept in mind when I had an injury, like I tore a knee ligament against the Washington Redskins, missed the rest of the game. Typically torn ligaments in your knee, you're out for X number of games. But I remember thinking, boy, I just don't want to give the next guy a chance because who knows? He could, and they'll say, oh, well, let's just let it rest another week. And let's just let it rest another week as that guy's continue to play and accumulate confidence, which is relayed to management, the coaching staff. And then it's easy for them to say, we'll just go in a different direction. I didn't want to let that happen. So that would probably the most important factor in it all for me.